DavidBlackburn. I'm doing my video on my final project program. So right here is my main file, my main folder that holds all of the files that my friend Noah Works and I made because we did the project together. So inside of that folder we have all of the main Python files, and we also have the README file, and in this folder we have the screenshots because this is what I used to upload to the assignments. So in the README I have how to run the game right up at the top, and so we'll get to that when I show you how to use the game. But for now we're going to go through all of the Python files, and we're going to start with main.py. Main.py I did most of the work on, and Noah and I each helped each other through different parts of code. So we both worked on every single file in here, but I did most of what's in this one. This file is for the main menu, and what it does is it opens up when you run it in the module, in the shell, it gives you options to either start a new game or to view high scores or to quit the game, and depending on what you choose it brings you to either the next file for playing the game, it opens that, or it reads from the high scores file or quits the game. And down here we have a little secret command for if you want to skip to the last level and have a bunch of extra health. So that's everything that's in here, and we have notes talking about what it is. And right here is where we imported our module that we didn't learn about in class. We learned about date time in class, but not the time module. And down here at the bottom is where I use the time module to set the start of when the player started the game to keep track of the high score. So then on to the next one, we're just going to go straight into enemy.py. This file is just a dictionary that is used for holding enemy stats depending on which enemy you're fighting, and it's updated from the different level.py files and is cleared, updated and cleared I think 3 times in each level, so that we can easily access this information from anywhere in the game. And so then next is fight program. This is the other one that I did the most work in. Noah added some little things and he'll talk about that in his video. But in here is where we handle all the fighting. We defined a class, fight program, and then within that class we had 3 methods, which the first one is battle, and I think we actually have 4 methods in here. But battle is what loops as long as you and the creature you're fighting are both alive. It loops your options of what to do, and depending on which option you choose, attack, dodge, or use a health pot, it calls one of the next 3 methods, which are named start attack, start dodge, and health pot. If you choose to attack, it runs through all these and it randomly generates your attack and the enemy's attack and does damage to both of you depending on who's alive and who isn't. And then down here with dodge, it does a similar thing, except the attack, you don't attack them, and the damage that they do to you, the possible amount of damage is lowered. And if the enemy gets hurt in here, it explains how much they got hurt and tells you. And up here, if they do die, it has a separate way of telling you that. Then down here with health pot, if you call health pot, it allows you to, if you have health pots in your player stats, which is another file that we have, then it brings your health up 10 points for every pot that you use, and it takes one out of how many pots you have so that it can keep track of that. And then down here is something that we use to call the program a few different times, and we keep it in that function so that this instance of the class only stays within this function so that we can keep calling it rather than calling different instances of the class. Then we have the highscores.txt file. This is just where the high scores are saved. You can see over here some of my high scores are saved in there. Down here is the load level. This one is just used to load the different levels once you've completed them. When you start the game, you load level 1, and once you go through that file, which I'll show you in a bit, then it adds this +1 to the encounter and then prints that you're going into the next level. And then if that number had been added to and the user is still alive, then it runs through level 2 and it does all of that again, and then does the same thing for level 3, and then once you're done with level 3, it checks one last time, tells you that you've beaten the game, and brings you back to the main menu. So that's all that's in that one. And then level 1.py, these are all the creatures in level 1 in order of where you come across them. And inside of each of these, what it does is it creates these stats so that they're only held within this function, and then it updates that one that py file I showed you earlier, enemy.py, to hold those so that we can call them when we load the fight program right here. And then in the fight program we can call them really easily. And then with health pots dropped, this is after you beat it. It drops a certain amount of health pots, and those are also here saved into your player stats. And then it does it clears that enemy.py, and then it calls the next one, and it does all of the same things in there, which calls the next one and does all those in there, and then this closes, and we move to the next one, which I won't show because it's almost exactly the same thing, just with different enemy statistics to make them more difficult. And then I'll show you level 3 because that one does differ. In here we imported time again because when you beat this it records the second time. And when you go down here, it does all the same things for these first two, and then once you beat this last one, it saves the second time so that it can calculate your high score, and then it saves your high score in there according to the times that you got, which are right here, time 2, time minus time 1, and those are in seconds. Then the last one is user info. This is a dictionary used to keep track of the player stats. You give your name at the beginning, and then according to how you played, it fills in your time, and if you don't beat the game, you don't get a high score. So with the time left, I'm going to just start the game and show a little bit of how it works. To start the game, as it said in the README file, you open up the main file, go to run module, and then you can start. I'm just going to show high scores right now, and it says that Noah and I are the creators, and then it says the name and time taken to beat the game in seconds, and then shows the high scores. So then we're going to start a new game, put my name in, and then we can start playing the game. I attacked, I can dodge, and you start with 1 health potion, so I can use that health potion right there, and it brought my health up to 109, and so that's how that works. You can go until you defeat it, and it dropped 3 health potions, and you move on to the next one. So that's how that function, or that's how the game works. If you want to, there's a way to kind of cheat, I guess. We included a little secret function to, instead of typing any of the options given, you can type beat, and then it brings you straight to the final boss, and then you can attack the boss a bunch, and it gives you enough health to for sure be able to beat the boss. So I'm doing this just to show you that I can beat the boss. Shows me that I won. It gave me the final dropped artifact, and oh, that's not what I meant to do. And there's my new high score, even faster than the first time. So yeah.